The moment Eli Carver crested the final ridge, his breath caught in his chest, tight and aching. Below him lay the valley he once called home, a stretch of sage and cottonwoods, and in its heart, the old cabin he had abandoned 10 long years ago. The sight of it struck him like a fist to the ribs. A place he swore he would never return to. A place thick with memory, love, and grief. Yet fate, in its wild and stubborn way, had brought him back. A cold wind pushed past him, carrying the faint scent of pine and dust. But something else lingered too, a feeling he couldn't name yet, one that tugged at the back of his mind like a warning. Eli nudged his horse forward, the cabin growing larger with every step. Its roof sagged, the porch slanted, the windows broken. Time had not been kind. Or perhaps something worse had happened. When he dismounted in front of the porch steps, his boots hit the earth with a heaviness that felt almost ceremonial. He hadn't set foot here since the night his younger brother, Sam, had vanished without a trace. People said Sam had run off, but Eli knew the truth, a truth that gnawed at him for a decade. Sam had cried out for help that night, and Eli had not been there. He had never forgiven himself. He reached for the cabin door, expecting it to groan open the way it used to. But instead, the door sat slightly ajar, moving just enough to suggest someone, or something, had been here recently. Eli froze. A shadow passed over his heart. He pushed the door open slowly, shotgun in hand. Inside, the air was stale, dust swirling in the thin beams of light that seeped through the broken windows. Furniture lay overturned. Scorch marks scarred the edges of the floorboards. And in the center of the room lay a sight that made Eli's blood run cold, a rope dangling from the rafters, frayed and freshly cut. Beneath it lay scattered remains of bindings, and near the wall, carved into the wood, a message written in shaky, desperate strokes. "He's still here." For a moment, Eli could only stare. Then another chill swept over him, the unmistakable sense that he was not alone. A soft rustling came from the back room. He raised his shotgun, inching forward. With a deep breath, he pushed the door open. Inside, curled up in the corner, was a girl no older than 16, her knees pulled to her chest, her clothes torn, her face streaked with dirt. Her eyes shot open when she heard the door creak, and she scrambled back, trembling. Don't hurt me," she whispered, voice cracked and small. Eli lowered his gun immediately. "I won't. I'm not here to harm you." She stared at him, breathing fast, searching his face for truth. After a moment, her shoulders sagged in exhausted relief. "My name's Eli Carver," he said gently. "Who are you?" "Leah," she murmured. I escaped. I didn't know where else to go." "Escaped from who?" Her eyes darted toward the windows, fear flooding her features. "The men who took me. They kept me here. All night. They were coming back." She swallowed hard. "They left one man to watch me. But he went out to check the horses. I cut the rope and hid." Eli's jaw tightened, fury surging through him. "How many men?" "3, maybe 4. Eli knelt beside her, offering his coat. She hesitated, then accepted it. As she pulled it around her shoulders, he noticed bruises along her arms, fresh enough to make his chest twist. "You did good running," he said. "But we can't stay here. They'll return." She looked up at him, tears pooling. "Please don't leave me alone." "You're not alone," he said firmly. "Not anymore." He guided her out of the cabin and toward his horse, helping her mount. But as he did, something near the tree line caught his eye, a glint of metal. A man, watching them. The moment their eyes met, the stranger ducked behind the trees. "They're here," Leah whispered. Eli swung onto the saddle, kicking the horse into motion. They rode hard through the valley, wind slashing at their faces. Gunshots cracked behind them. Leah clutched Eli's coat with shaking hands, her breath sharp and terrified. They reached the narrow canyon trail just as the outlaws gave chase. Eli pushed the horse hard, navigating the sharp turns and tight passages with years of remembered instinct. The canyon opened into a dry riverbed, and Eli guided them to a ridge overlooking a hidden alcove. Only local ranchers knew the spot. When they finally stopped, both were panting. Leah looked up at him. Why were they in that cabin? Why did they write that message? Eli hesitated, the truth catching in his throat. Because someone else was taken there before. My brother, 10 years ago. He took a steadying breath. The message, it means he wasn't the only one. Leah's face softened with a grief that mirrored his. Do you think he's still alive? Eli looked toward the distant cabin, its silhouette haunting against the horizon. I don't know. But if those same men took him, his voice hardened. Then I'm going to find out. Over the next days, Eli hid Leah at a trusted friend's ranch and rode out alone, tracking the outlaws who had haunted his life for a decade. Each clue he uncovered revealed a darker truth. The same gang had used abandoned places up and down the territory to hold captives, many of whom were never seen again. But one thing became clearer with every step: Sam's disappearance had not been his fault. He didn't fail his brother. He had only failed to see the evil that stalked the land. And now he had a chance to stop it from happening again. When Eli finally confronted the gang in a canyon hideout, the fight was brutal and unforgiving. Gunfire echoed against the rock walls. Dust and screams filled the air. Eli moved with the desperation of a man carrying 10 years of regret on his shoulders. In the end, the gang fell. Not one escaped justice. When it was over, Eli knelt beside the remains of their camp and found a small wooden carving, a horse, worn smooth by years of handling. He recognized it instantly. Sam had made it when he was 13. Eli bowed his head, tears hot in his eyes. Sam had been here. He had fought. He had held on as long as he could. And Eli, finally, had brought peace to his brother's spirit. He returned to the ranch days later, exhausted but standing straighter than he had in years. Leah ran to meet him, hope shining in her eyes. Are they gone? She asked. They're gone, he said softly. She threw her arms around him, sobbing into his coat. Thank you. You saved me. Eli rested a hand on her back. You saved yourself. I only gave you a little help. She looked up at him. What will you do now? Eli gazed toward the horizon, where the cabin lay silent, no longer a place of nightmares but a place where truth had finally been found. I think, he said slowly, I'll rebuild. Not just the cabin, but my life. It's time. Leah smiled, a new sense of safety settling around her. Do you think I could stay? At least for a while. Eli nodded. As long as you need. For the first time in 10 years, the valley felt warm again. Not because the past had been erased, but because Eli had faced it, fought it, and turned it into something that could no longer hurt him. And in the quiet glow of a new dawn, with the ranch finally free of shadows, Eli Carver learned the truth he had been running from for a decade. A man is not defined by the losses he couldn't prevent, but by the lives he protects from that day forward.